Hi, I'm Juliana Meek with my dad, Bill Meek of Harmon Meek Gallery in Naples, Florida, and we have been talking about Will Barnet. And I'd like to tell you a story about the last visit we had at his studio before he passed away, which is quite sad. But the visit was amazing and very memorable for me as well because I was debating coming back into the gallery as with taking over the gallery from my parents, and it was a part of that trip that I think visiting his studio cemented that in my mind. But one of the things about Will Barnet is that he has influenced thousands of artists. He is an artist. So he's well loved, well respected. He's received many awards and recognitions over his long career. He's in probably 300 museum collections worldwide. So he's an incredibly influential artist, and yet he was so humble, even in the end, with that last visit in his studio when he's over 100 years old. And we were talking about his newest work, which is abstract in nature, and he was going back to revisit a period of his career from the 50s with revisiting that Indian space period is what it is called. But when we were looking at the work and I said how much I really liked it, he was so humble. He said, really? I couldn't believe how humble he was for such a great artist. And I think that's why he was a great artist, because he was so humble and he was always trying to challenge himself and move forward. So incredible man and incredible artist. But he was very excited to visit to come down to Naples for a show. He always came down for a show. So even he was 101 at that time, or 102?
No, about 100. He died when he was 101.
Yeah, so he was 101.
Yeah.
And even at 101, when we were planning his show of his Indian space paintings, he was so excited and looking forward to coming down for the show. And I think he would have, even at 101, he would have. But unfortunately, he did not survive after Superstorm Sandy, that if you recall, went through New York and really devastated the area. And it was so late in fall that it was very cold, and he didn't have
got pneumonia.
power.
He actually got pneumonia, but he was on the 8th floor, and they couldn't get him down. They finally had to have 3 or 4 men carry him down the stairs to get him rush him to the hospital. But all the power went out.
Yeah, they kept
in
taking
lower
the power.
Manhattan. They kept on saying, well, one more day the power will be back on.
Yeah.
But I have a story about you and Christine visiting him when you were 12 years old.
Okay.
I think Christine was 15 years old in 1990.
That'd be early 90s. Yeah.
1992.
92, yeah.
No, it was the first trip, 1990. You were only 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And we were going to Europe, to Italy and southern France, but we stopped off in New York and we saw a lot of artists in New York City. And we took you to Will and Elena's home in National Arts Club building, and you met him, and he was so kind to you two girls. He would have none of us had an idea that Christine and you would take over the gallery eventually. We kind of push you out of the nest, as you know. But later, when we got to Rome and we went to the Vatican, I knew that Will had a major painting of 4 generations of women in the Vatican collection, the contemporary collection. But we went through the whole museum, and they have different routes, different color routes that you follow, and we didn't get on the right route to go to the contemporary collection, so we went through the Sistine Chapel. Sistine Chapels on every route, so we went through it, and it was completely empty of people. We got there so early, and yet this was the one day of the month when it's free to go in, and so every tour company had thousands of people lined up around the Vatican to get the Vatican to get into this museum. So we got through the whole thing and realized that we didn't see Will Barnet's, we got on the wrong line. So we went back around and went through a second time and got on the right route to get through to the contemporary collection. And you girls were about fit to be tied at that point. You were, what are we doing this for? What are we doing this for? And are we there yet? So this time when we went through the Sistine Chapel, was packed, and I was really worried about my wallet at that point. I don't think you should be really worried about your wallet in the Sistine Chapel, but I guess I was. But anyway, we got through, we got into the contemporary collection, and we walked into into the gallery, and at the very end, I think it had to be 50, 70 feet away, at the end of the hall was the Barnet painting of the four generations of women, which I think is a beautiful painting to have in the Vatican collection because it represents family and one generation after another. It's perfect for any religion, actually. So anyway, immediately Christine and you both said, "That's Mr. Barnet's painting." And then they realized that why we had taken all this effort to see that one painting, and it really made sense to you at that point. And I was so happy that all this has transpired, that you're now in the gallery and loving his work.
Oh yeah, absolutely.